Well, joining us from Washington is Neil Armstrong's son, Mark. It takes all our breath away. You were very young, of course, when your dad did that. What are your very personal memories, I'm guessing, of that moment?
Well, we were watching the moon landing and the moonwalk with everyone else around the world. We were at home. It was just it was a very exciting experience. And as a 6-year-old, of course, I really didn't understand the danger. I even didn't understand the historical context. But I could kind of get a sense of it from the people around me. Just very grateful that everything worked out well and they were able to come home safely.
And of course, you would have lived the whole training program. You'd have lived your dad being in the astronaut program for many, many years previous to this actually occurring, Mark. So I wonder what that period of anticipation and build-up and whether the mission was going to go ahead and whether it was actually going to take off, what that was like for you and your family. Because, of course, at the same time, he was your dad and he has to carry on being a dad as well.
That's exactly right, and it didn't seem extraordinary to me. The way NASA structured things, each mission was built on the previous one. So if the previous one had problems, then they had to work those problems out before they went on to the next step. And it just turns out that Apollo 8, 9, and 10 all did extraordinarily well. And so Apollo 11 became the first opportunity to attempt.
For your mum, I'm guessing she must have been very, very aware.
She was very aware. Of course, our direct neighbor was Ed White. And so she was very aware. And how she hid that from us, it amazes me to this day.
Did you, as you grew up, Mark, and sort of the reality of what your dad had been through sort of struck and you got a little bit older, did you start considering what could have gone wrong? Did you start sort of ever sit down and go, Dad, what would you have done if you hadn't been able to take off back off the moon and had been stuck up there? Did you all talk through the reality of that, or was it just like, do you know what, it's not even worth thinking about now?
Yeah, we didn't really talk through it, but I can tell you that it didn't really occur to me until the Challenger accident. Because when I saw that, I realized that despite everyone's best efforts, despite all these people supporting the mission and the very qualified people that were on that mission, things can happen that are just beyond anyone's control. So that was a very sobering day for me in many respects.
It was a moment that the whole world shared that changed history.
It's really ironic because he tried very much to stay the same person after the flight as before the flight. And I think the world wanted him to be different. But to him, he felt like he wanted to stay the same, and he wanted our family dynamics to stay the same. And that was just the kind of guy that he was. And I think you'll see that in this film Armstrong if you get a chance to see it. It's really quite wonderful.
And was it easy for him to do that, though, Mark? Because I'd imagine that, as Kate was saying, intergalactically, he became notorious. Could he go anywhere without people stopping him and wanting his autograph or wanting to talk to him about it?
It was a challenge for him, as you might expect. But he really continued to try. And at some point, I think later in life, he certainly, he embraced more of the role that was chosen for him, or that was destined for him, perhaps. I don't know the right term, but he tried to take more of a leadership role in terms of trying to convince the administration here in the U.S. that they should continue space exploration with a program called Constellation. He testified in front of Congress, but unfortunately, it just didn't work out, and that program was canceled.
And how did it affect you and your ambitions and how you viewed what you could achieve? I mean, I'm imagining, for the very least as a teenager, it's quite good with the girls to say, my dad's Neil Armstrong.
Yeah, I think Apollo, the entire Apollo program, affected me the same way it affected people around the world. I think it taught people that if you work hard and you apply yourself, then great things can happen in your future. And you don't even necessarily know what those things are because the future is very hard to see. But if you just apply yourself, then Apollo teaches us that the future can be amazing, and you better prepare, because if you're not the best you can be, then you're going to miss the boat.
One other thing before we let you go, Mark, because it's been fascinating talking to you. That very famous phrase that he used when he landed on the moon, one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Was that something that you sort of caught him rehearsing as he was having a shave in the morning? Did you walk into the bathroom and he was there practicing?
One giant jump. No, not jump. That's not right.
How did that come about? And was there any inkling from you and your family that this is what he was going to say?
We had no idea. You know, my dad was a very thoughtful guy, and no one told him what to say. And he said it very simply. He said, I knew that I was going to be taking a small step, but it was going to mean a lot to a lot of people. And just from that simple concept, that phrase was born. And that's just the kind of guy he was. He had this personality, and I want people to know that personality. That's why I'm so excited about this film, Armstrong, because I think through his own words and through the words of his colleagues, people are going to get to know him, and they're going to find out that the way he's been characterized over the years by the media is just not right. And I think it's, in this case, the truth is much better than the fiction. And I'm really looking forward to people getting to know him the way I knew him.
Well, we've loved listening to you talk about him this morning, Mark. It really is absolutely glorious to sort of relive that moment. It was a little bit before my time, but I know it all so vividly anyway. But a lot of our crew here are absolutely enthralled by the whole thing as well, and it's lovely to meet you and hear what you have to say. And
it's fantastic. We're absolutely obsessed. I can tell you, everybody on the team, it's not just us listening to you this morning, we're all absolutely gripped. So thank you for giving us your time.
It's my pleasure to be here, and thank you for having me, really.
Brilliant.
Not at all. Great stuff. Thank you very much, Mark Armstrong.
He's got a winning way as well, hasn't he?
Yeah,
it's obviously in the genes.
I tell you what, he was quite coy about it, but if Neil Armstrong had been my dad...
You'd have been all over Essex, wouldn't you?